Group I, which I have titled Stinkfest. Mazatlan, Nashville, and New England. I mean, I don't care about current form or past. What this is like, literally scraping the bottom of the barrel here. No offense to any fan. I mean, they probably know it by now. No offense to any fans there, but goodness me, Connor, why don't you tell me where they are playing and some new signings that have come in?
All right, so Nashville versus Mazatlan is going to be at Geodis. New England versus Nashville is going to be at Gillette Stadium in New England, and then New England versus Mazatlan is going to be at Gillette Stadium in New England. So two home games for New England, one for Nashville, none for Mazatlan. In terms of major signings, going to continue with the same theme as last time. Going to try to do winter 2024 and summer 2024. Any big signings? And for Liga MX clubs, I'm just going to try and name two people anyway, just to give some more context for them. But for Mazatlan, I have chosen Facundo Almada, who came over from Rosario Central. For Nashville, I went with Tyler Boyd coming over from the LA Galaxy. And New England, I didn't find anybody that I thought would be classified as a big signing for winter 2024. In terms of summer 2024, nothing for Nashville or New England so far. And for Mazatlan, I've gone for Alan Torres from Chivas.
Very good and much quicker than last time. I
Yeah,
like that.
that felt better.
No, that's great. So we will just dive in and start giving you your little blurb per team. We will start off with the Liga MX side in this group, Mazatlan. With only 2 goals scored and 6 against, Mazatlan sits 17th in the current standings of the Apertura, following a 14th placed finish in the Clausura. This team is poor, but they were the top of their Leagues Cup group last year, involving Austin. And then they were bested by Dallas in the first round. So looking to get farther than the first round this time. What is a player? Which player are you watching? Let me ask it that way.
So I've gone for Gustavo Del Prete, who is, I believe, Argentinian. Actually, don't quote me. Yeah, Argentinian. Okay. The Argentine who spent time in Uruguay back in 2020, ended up at Estudiantes in the Argentinian League in 2021 and 2022, before coming over to Pumas in 22-23 season, where he had 5 goals, 3 assists. He had moved over to Mazatlan in 23-24, where he had 3 goals, 1 assist in about 1,000 minutes. And so far this year started 3 out of 3. I think I don't know if it updated for the most recent games on FBref yet, but 1 goal to show for so far. Again, not like it's tough to pick a player to watch on this team because they're not the highest quality team, but I think he's got I don't know. I just picked him. I can't remember why I picked him. I just picked him.
Get him, Mazatlan fans. He's talking bad about your team. Me myself, whenever I see a team that's poor in the attack, I don't expect them to fix it in a week. But what they can do is be really strong in the back. So I'm keeping my eyes on the back line. And back in the day, there was this guy that the USMNT tried to implement as a center back who was out of Liga MX, and now he happens to play for Mazatlan. And that is Ventura Alvarado, a name some older USMNT fans may remember. He started all 3 matches so far this season, so let's see what he's got. And, he hasn't been in the picture for a while in the national team. I'd be curious to see if there's a reason why, and that's what I'll be looking for.
It's because he's not in Europe and he's not on Real Madrid's C team.
Let's say if he was on the bench of the Belgian second division, probably
Be
be
in there.
over. He'd at least be called in over Miles, right?
Yeah. He'd be
This
miles ahead of the next guy.
this is the reason we have 2 hour long recordings because we sit here and just meet people all day. Let's move on then to Nashville. BJ Callahan is in town and ready to take Nashville up the table with some good, solid football. And that will start by getting the foundation laid in Leagues Cup. This Nashville team is not very good. And I got to be honest with you, I don't see them repeating their Leagues Cup performance of last year, where they made it all the way to the final just to lose to the Messi script. This year, they've had a slow start. They've removed Gary Smith. They're currently just 1 point out of the playoffs, so that may have changed with last night's game. I haven't checked. There's got to be a couple people we can be watching here to help this team climb the table a little bit.
Yeah, and I can't wait to pick the people that are just not playing. I have a specialty for that. My player to watch, I just picked Hani. Obviously, he's the heart and soul of that attack, and it's been a slow season for him so far. So maybe Leagues Cup, similar to what I was saying with Drew C last episode, could be an opportunity for him to kind of have a clean slate and get things going again. So I'll be keeping an eye on if he can kind of get back to that MVP form that we know from him.
There is only one person to keep an eye on, and
Here
it
we
is
go.
somebody who.
Alex Moil. Alex Moil. Alex Moil.
So again, I don't go for the obvious. We all know what the obvious is, and it's Alex Moil, Sean Davis, the Drew
You're gonna
Yearwood.
go for the other Red Bull. You're gonna go for Drew Yearwood.
We when this guy made his move from Toronto to Nashville on loan, we thought it was a nightmare of a move. This was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think.
You
And
just made him
ever
up.
since he has just rocketed his stock up the charts, and that is the speedster Jacob Schaffelberg. After Copa America, his profile has been through the roof, and everybody who has never laid eyes on MLS is like, "Oh, wait, this kid might be good." Yeah, we figured that out late too, but not as late as you guys. So get on our level. This can be a really good way for him to show his skill set, and attract more suitors. He looked really decent in Canada's Copa America. He's been really, really good in Nashville. Now, if he goes out against these Liga MX sides, helps this poor Nashville side make a deep-ish run, right? Get out of the group, get in a round or two before going get knocked out by a big name. I think he's gone at the very least next season if he chooses to leave. He says he's happy here, but everybody says that, right? So it will be very interesting to see how he does because I think he is being watched by a lot of people right now.
He's been quiet this year in MLS. He's only got
No.
he's only got 3 goal contributions.
Yeah, but it's not the goal contribution that we're talking about. It's the style of play. He's making things happen. He's just surrounded by like non elite level. Like it's him and Alex Moyle carrying the team, and then there's this DP German guy who's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here." Like, step up, bro. What have you done for this team ever? I mean, like I can't even
Ever.
remember the last time you were half decent.
Only one MVP. What a scrub.
You could never. No, I kid. But seriously, like they're a really good showing out of him for a not so good team, and it'll be really interesting to see where he goes from that. And if we're continuing our theme of not so good teams, let's talk about New England. I'm really good at these transitions, by the way.
Yeah.
Bottom of the East, 5 points out of the playoffs, losses in their last 3 or 4. Top players injured. Caleb Pool's first year in charge has not gone to plan. They did lose in the round of 16 last year to Querétaro in PKs, but the 2021 Supporter Shield champions will look to turn their season around starting right here. That's a bold statement, I think, but we'll go with it. Who are you watching?
I'm gonna go with the striker Giacomo Vrioni, who has been very disappointing in previous years. And I think we going into the season, we talked about this has to be the year where he steps up, or you have to move on from him at this point. I think it's been a little bit of a hit or miss. I do think he's been playing better than he has in the past. Granted, that bar is pretty low. He's got 8 goals so far in about 1,600 minutes, which is not the best return, but it's much better than where he was before. So maybe he can kind of find some form again in Leagues Cup and get that confidence up and continue to score some more goals leading back into the regular season. But I think he's going to be a big factor for this New England team in the tournament.
Well, don't worry. If anybody wants him to not do that, just let me know. Again, slide me some money. I'll put him in my fantasy team because guess what? I put him in my fantasy team this week. Didn't play either of the 2 games.
There
Was
you
he away
go.
on international duty? Was he hurt? I don't know. Nobody said anything. Like the MLS fantasy system is supposed to have like a little red dot when somebody's not available.
Oh, they don't do that.
They don't do that, which is
No.
ridiculous. But yeah. So if you want him to be really good, let me know, and I'll keep him out of my fantasy side. If you want him to fail, a little bit of an upcharge on that, but I'll risk my fantasy team for that. No problem.
Well, it's good to know that he didn't play the previous two games because that means he's probably going to miss Leagues Cup now that I picked him as my player to watch.
Yeah, well, somebody who I have a good feeling is going to be there because he's reportedly switching nationalities and was not called up to the Olympics is Esmir Bajraktarevic. This group's got a lot of injuries, especially in wide areas. Nacho Heel, Barrero's up and down, Chancalay out for the year. This Bosnian American is going to have to step up big time and give New England any sort of shot here. He was a really big bright spot. I think he was in the national team January camp, maybe it was. And we were like, oh, that January camp was terrible, but he looked really good. So I think it's going to fall a lot on his shoulders. Noel Buck will have a little bit in there. And I mean, they had a 16-year-old playing, we talked about Julian Hall and Kayvon Sullivan and all these people. They started a 16-year-old yesterday at left back, or maybe subbed him in, and he did really, really well from what I've read. Peyton Miller. So this is going to be a group that seems to be transitioning into the youth, and I think it's going to start with Esmir really, really soon.
I mean, they've already kind of transitioned to Esmir. He's been playing a ton this year.
No, I know. What I'm saying is like he's going to lead that group. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be the face of that group coming forward.
I think that makes sense.
Let's go ahead and do predictions then. You can go first because I'm nice.
All right. So I'm going to go with the opposite of what you were saying before. And I think Nashville's deep run last season gives them some experience in this tournament and how to be successful. And I think they carry that in top of the group here. So I got Nashville at 1. I've got New England at 2. There was a stretch right after I made the prediction that I think they'll get into the playoffs outright, where they were starting to find some form again and win games and get points. And I feel like they've kind of reversed from that lately. The last couple of weeks, I feel like they've been kind of heading back towards the New England that was struggling mightily at the start of the season. So not sure which New England we're going to see, but I think there's enough talented players in here that they could get second. Plus having 2 home games, I think gives them a big boost over Mazatlan, who I have at 3rd, because I just don't think there's enough quality in that team to outdo the burden of not having any home games.
You in this home game thing, by the way. Like
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be.
I was editing the last. And listen, you're not wrong, by the way. Like we saw what happened last year. A lot of the Mexican teams traveling didn't do so well. I get it, but like every single group I edited in the 8 last episode, you were like home games, home games, home games, home games.
I
like,
genuinely
we get it, bro. You love geography. Like calm down. Go play GeoGuessr and leave us alone.
Well, I think it back to our like predictions that we do weekly, and like majority of the teams that we pick to win are the home teams. So that's kind of why I'm putting more weight on that.
And that's why you're negative money. I'm up $250, right?
Maybe you should have gambled.
Yeah, I know, right? I have Nashville at 1, New England at 2, and Mazatlan at 3. But I will tell you that this is going to be one of 2 ways. This is going to be every game ends 0-0 and the winner moves on winning penalty shootouts, or every game's going to end 5-4 because the teams are all so bad they're just going to just run wild on each other. Like there's going to be no in between of like, oh man, this is a really tactical game. This is going to be like no hold barred, get in and just MLS 4.0 it, or oh my god, they can't put 5 passes together and we got to go to penalties after every single game. Like that's what I'm waiting for out of this, and that's why I think like I very easily could see Mazatlan winning the whole group because it's just going to be a dice roll at this point.
They're all bad, but they're all kind of like even. It's not like
they're evenly bad. There's not like a good one, an okay one, and a really bad one. They're all just equally bad.
Yeah.
But the reason I went this way is because Nashville's defense is a nightmare. New England's defense is not great. So you should be able to take advantage of that. But when the other team only scores 2 goals in 4 games and conceded a whole bunch, and didn't, they didn't show any improvement over last season either, it's going to be tough to take advantage of those, right? So,
yeah,
should be interesting.